And they can have my things when we're dead. But we gonna live forever. We gonna live forever. The Boys Cast Patreon. That's what it.
What it do?
Yo, what it do? What it
What
do?
it do? What it do?
Y'all already know what it is. You know what? I was gonna go. I wanted to. Before getting into that other stuff, I thought this was sort of interesting, and I wanted your take on it. And then, just the simple question of: is it better to be single or in a relationship?
Grass is always greener. That's
Yes. And there's some science behind it. So I got a question from one of the boys. He's like, dude, I've been fucking juggling different chicks.
is this the same guy who wanted to fuck his ex's
No, not the
sister?
same guy. And he's like, it's been killing my productivity and it's become a nightmare. And it's like,
What? Juggling chicks?
yeah, juggling chicks.
Just think of them each one as a part-time job.
Yes. But
It might not think of them as a side hustle. That's a better thing.
Yeah.
Each one is a different side hustle.
and you can also,
So think about how
Okay.
a side hustle affects your life time-wise.
it is true.
Yeah, and you'd be like, I have 12 different side hustles, and you go, okay, well, it's gonna take away from your main hustle.
And you can also, so if you were to go, so then then the obvious answer to that is like, okay, we'll just have one chick. And that's an option. But if you were to go back from first principles and you know, cause all these people have this idea that like, oh, even the Jordan Petersons of the world, it'll just be like, here's why it's having a wife's better. We've already done the calculations. It's that. And you're like, okay, but I'd like to fuck other girls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that are like, having a wife's better. And you go, yeah, or it's not like, or fucking, having a wife sucks. Like,
There's also
for some people,
yeah, but
depends
and,
who it is.
and then there's also like the very tiny fraction of people who go, I have a wife who lets me cheat.
Right. So what is the ideal scenario? But that is expensive. Dude,
That's expensive, or you just need the right.
Dude, I know other people that are like, I got a fucking chick that like, she kind of is down at threesomes, or it's like a little open for me every now and then, but it's like, yeah, just cheat anyway, because it's like a pain in the ass to fucking tell her like, I know that I'm allowed as long as I tell you, but I had sex, and they're just like, fuck
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
Dude, I don't
I
want that fucking, unless it's like, don't ask, don't tell a little. But this is probably ideal. If you are single, you have one main chick that you hang out with like once a week, and then other chicks that you don't really talk to that much, but you smash like once every month.
Yeah,
That's probably the ideal.
that's kind of yeah.
And then you need to do probably the math on how sick you are, because you go, if the chicks are hotter than you, because if the chicks are hotter than you and you're not that sick of a dude, whether like you don't offer that much, you're not that like entertaining, you weren't just traditionally the girl.
Oh, they'll
that-
be gone. You'll be getting a
you
lot.
won't be able to have you won't be able to maintain them without a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And then if they're too much grosser than you, they'll all fall in love with you, and they'll be hard to like keep them in that position.
It's a juggling act for sure. Because the thing, if you have some girl who's super hot, way hotter than you, and then you just start ghosting her, she's gonna be like, "What the fuck?
That's it, you're
Who the
done.
fuck do you think you are? Like,
Yeah.
Well, you think you're just gonna message me whenever you want? Like,
So a lot of times what you could have is like girls that you dated for fucking 6 months, put in tons of time, and then you kind of aren't with them now, and you have like a few sort of almost exes in the mix that you can smash every month or two. But then there isn't so much of an idea that are we getting back together?
Yeah.
So that's probably the best.
but like, is this guy trying to make his life easier? Like, I don't understand. Like what's his issue that he's trying to resolve here?
Well, what's it's
There
not,
is
it's
no such
unclear
thing, because
But what's the best way to live your life is the cardinal question for everyone.
I mean, well, I think that shifts depending on where you're at. Like, there was
It does
definitely a
shift.
period in my life where I go, the best thing was just tons of different chicks all the time.
Uh-huh.
And then that, became not the best thing.
Yeah.
Where you go, oh, this is a fucking drag. This is tiring.
And there's that idea that you can a lot of times you can get what you want, but it's never going to be how you want it.
That's
you know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's a career or a chick, you're like, what I want is a chick that I can fuck whoever I want. And like, you can always probably get what you want, but it'll come with like some other shit. You're like, ugh, maybe I didn't like the type of chick that's into that fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the fucking batshit crazy type of girl that like, or the fucking weird shit. But then, or maybe you don't want like the emotional pressure of some fucking gooma bleeding you dry as well, right? So
It's the thing is it's very much an experiment because you
It's a
you
constant
add,
one.
you take away, you kind of like
this would be probably the ideal scenario if I was to pick. That you start getting in relationships and then they get to about the 2-year mark and you fucking get out and then you start the process again.
just start all
Yes. But again, most people don't want to live like that. And I don't live like that.
No.
But if I,
No, that's a tough way to live.
well, it's
That's you know what that lifestyle is? That's a lifestyle of a drifter.
it's a drifter. That's
Drifter like you're a vagabond at that point.
I think that's
where
the
you
best
just,
way to
You know,
live.
you straight up you're like, "Oh, I'm moving."
that's the dream.
Yeah, you just move to a new
literally
place.
what I
You're
just
just basically
did.
saying move to a new place every 2 years.
That's what I just did.
Yeah.
And I think so.
yeah.
But you don't want to have to reset all your other stuff. You just want to reset the girl. What you want is her to like you move her every 2 years.
I think what you're sounding like is
After 2 years,
I think
you
this
go,
is
hey, you're moving.
we were this sounds like more of a sports thing where you sign them to a contract and then you don't renew
ideal,
it.
dude.
You just don't renew the contract.
But it'd be hard to not renew your girlfriend's contract like right now. If you're dating your chick,
I think Keith Pedro has a joke about this maybe.
yeah. But if your chick was even like, what? We have to do, you were coming, obviously that was a formality. You weren't actually doing that. And you're like, hey, sit down. I'd like to.
Yeah, you bring him into the what do you do here? You sit him down. You go. So we've talked with management, and we were happy to have you on the team these past couple of years, but unfortunately, we will not be renewing your contract.
Right.
So. Just like straight, on
There's
the other
no
side
way.
of the desk.
Like
Yeah.
right now, if I fucking chick's like, all right, we're gonna do this contract negotiation that every guy does it. Every guy would have to be like, no, obviously we don't have to do it. It's like, yeah, okay, I'll just send you the contract. And then she's like, hey, you haven't sent me the contract yet. And you go, yeah, I'm for sure my people are
Yeah,
on
so
it.
we've decided we're going a different route.
We're going diverse.
Yeah, we're going diverse. Diversity is pretty popular right now.
We didn't
and-
think yours was best for the company. They said, so I read this article and it said, are you better off being single according to science? And they were sort of pushing some like new agey bullshit, like, city shit. But we can tell if you actually agree with them or not. They said, number one, being single gives you the space to think. So they say, taking some time to yourself can be seen as an opportunity to get to know who you really are and blah, blah. So that's where they go into girl territory. But it is true that when a girl's around all the time and then she leaves, you're like sick.
Mm-hmm.
But then after they're gone for 2 weeks, you end up like when totally left to your own devices, guys aren't always more productive anyway. And you end up like this guy with 4 chicks.
Yeah.
So if you are the type of guy that you say, my alternative to having a girlfriend, it's between having a girlfriend or me being just 24/7 working, and that's what I am.
Yeah.
You go, yeah, then you're more productive and you think more, but who's doing that?
Exactly. Nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah. I mean, you'll know eventually when you're starting being like, this is not. Like, it depends what age you are. Like, if this guy's 50, I'll be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
If this guy's 25, I'll be like, yeah, have fun.
20s, you go single.
Yeah, 20s is like,
Develop those relationships that last 7 months that'll allow you to fuck them every now and then when you're single and you're older. And your in-between periods, you'll be able to come back to the roster, get the gang back together.
sow those seeds,
You gotta get the gang back together, raise the dead like the necromancer. You with your fucking voodoo spells to get the fucking old girls from 7 years ago, raise them from the dead. Hey, me, it's Ryan. Remember we fucked in college?
remember me. Yeah, if you're fucking, that's age dependent, I think.
Yeah. And they said single people are healthier. There's some evidence single people get more exercise than those who are married.
Obviously,
that's
because people who
obvious.
are married would probably have kids. And
Yeah, and if you're gonna be one of those guys that's like, chiseled and have an 8-pack and all that stuff, like why? But I'll go on the other side. Being fucking that, in shape is overrated.
I mean, what's the point of it if you have a fucking...
What's the point of it? You need the base level of like, I'm in shape. You don't want to be fat. But this idea of being in tip-top shape, if you're not getting new pussy, why?
Yeah,
Who's this
unless
for?
you're like, I do triathlons on the weekends. You're that guy, weekend warrior,
Sure.
so to speak.
Sure. Be that guy.
But that's more of a byproduct, I think, really, of you wanting to do those things.
Yes. 3, you're better at keeping friends. And it's like, well, maybe, but if your friends are all in relationships, then you're going to be worse at keeping those friends.
Wait, single people are better at keeping friends?
That's what they're saying.
I don't know about
what
that
they mean
because
is like you're the Fred Armisen where you have all these like people you're friends with. You're definitely better at keeping opposite gender friends when you're single.
I guess. But yeah, the friend thing is weird
Who the fuck wants
because
that?
the fact is like, the older you get, all your friends have, they start partnering up and then you're not going to see them very much.
Yeah, unless you go see them unless you work together or your chicks are friends too. And you're like, you hang out as a
But you don't have a chick because you're single.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you're going to be worse at keeping those friends.
And then you never want to be the guy who's constantly like, your friend's married and you just have a new chick every time you hang out.
It's rude. I wouldn't hang out with that dude.
No.
Dude, if
the wife would be like, what the
If
fuck?
I'm dating a girl seriously and I'm friends with someone who has like Justin, who has like a fucking new chick every time, he's like, what you bring the one chick around, it's like another year till like I would ever do something with a new chick.
100%. Like you have to, you have to almost like allow your imagination to think about what happened with the relationship, like all the work its entire course to where you could be like, oh, they've gone through their thing and now broken up and
Exactly.
he's onto a new person.
There's no way that I'm just gonna allow it.
Next week being like new chick.
Yeah,
and
he's
you're like,
just
nah,
that's
nah.
one of my friends that I hang out with. Is just out there crushing snares.
And like
I'm out with him
it's
till
not
4 a.m.
like it's nothing.
Like it's nothing. No
Like he
chance.
has-
Those are the kind of values that my friend has. I mean, which dude would want his girl being with? Can you imagine your friend like going clubbing? Your chick's going clubbing with some girl, and she's like has some new
guy.
fucking dude every time. You'd be
Yeah.
like, I hate this.
Yep.
Don't force me to be around this nonsense. Your fucking friends' hoe years. Do that. I don't want to be. Don't put me around it.
Yeah.
It's my number one thing I always say to chicks. I go, if you want me to be around this shit, I'm not going to be a very good boyfriend. I go, I'm doing my best to like kind of have that stuff not in my life. I probably hang out a little bit less at those places. I do a little bit less 4 a.m. coke nights with randoms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you want to bring this shit into my life? You want to ignite the beast?
Give him a taste of the beast.
The beast that
please,
was old,
please, sir,
Ryan.
please put the beast away.
You want to fuck around, turn me back to the old me? What, you think I ain't got condoms? What, you think I sold them all? Because I stay well off? Because I've been in the podcast studio with a pen and the pad? Trying to get this damn YouTube off?
Saying Ryan fell off.
I've probably made that joke 10 times. Fun one to keep going back to, though.
Oh, yeah.
Change
It's
the
fun.
words a little bit. And then they say you're better with money. These are all just like...
Single people are better than
So
money?
and I don't agree with much of this. I think this whole article, it's like you can be or you cannot be.
Yeah, you eat craft dinner out of a fucking pot that you haven't cleaned in 3 days.
Then you'll be better with money.
Yeah.
But if you're dating and you're like, listen, I'm dating a chick. I don't spend much. When I'm fucking single, I don't mind dropping big bills. I got bills. You know who that song is? It's my favorite song. So Ludacris back in the day had a song where he goes, I got bills. And me and my friend used to say, so it's a guy named Bill, a duck bill, and then money. And then a bill of independence, and then like a bill for your meal. Yeah. So it's
just bills.
I got bills. It's like, yeah, bills, and then like bills, and then a guy named Bill, like a guy named Bill with a mechanic outfit.
What's up?
So he has every different.
I was like the kids in the hall, like these are the Daves I know.
Yeah. These are the Daves I know.
These are the Daves I know. These are the Daves I know.
So he has a lot of different bills.
A lot of bills.
I got bills.
Yeah, but I don't get that one. I guess if you're single, you can focus more on your career. You kind of like can make more money.
Maybe.
I guess. But it depends on the person. Like we all know single guys who work in, Wall Street, make a ton of money and are like living paycheck to paycheck because they just have this crazy life.
Exactly. So it's both. It just
Yeah.
depends on which one of them are and how old you are. So I think this whole article is a bunch of bullshit. And it really is. What's your fucking age? What's your job? If you live some job where you're on tour fucking 45 days a year, yeah, you're going to want to fucking be fucking other girls. If you live in the middle of the country and you're not around all that shit, you're not, maybe you have a kid, you're not around all this nonsense, then it's obviously better to have a chick.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many just city.
Scenario by scenario.
Yeah, I would say like a city has a lot to do with it. There's so many places where I was like, you can't just be single.
Yeah.
In some country town. You're
They're
the crazy.
saying-
You're like the crazy guy then.
So I think this is a little bit of bullshit. It depends on your personality. depends on.
I feel like
where
we
you
didn't give
go.
him a good answer, but
No, we did give him
Well,
the
I-
exact answer. Well, there isn't a good answer.
There
That's the
isn't a
difference
good- that
between
is-
like
is-
real advice and when you're talking to people that are like, it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to look someone in the eyes and go, this one's better.
yeah,
It's like, who are you? What is your thing? And this is the problem with
true.
advice.
It's true.
That's that like Ty Lopez kind of advice. That's the guy version where they just go, you need to get out there and fucking eat glass in the morning. And it's like, what is this guy trying to accomplish? Does he really need an ice bath every morning for what he's trying to do?
He goes, it hardens you.
I read
it hardens you to go sell more multi-level marketing courses.
Yeah. What are you talking
What?
about? But Ty Lopez is my favorite one because Ty Lopez is my favorite one because I don't know if you've seen his famous commercial where it's him in the garage with the Lamborghini and he goes, I read 85 books a day,
Yeah.
and he speed reads them.
Yeah, I've seen that. I remember there was in the 90s a big fucking, in the heyday of whatchamacallit, infomercials, there was a speed reading course with that dude with the mullet. Remember the guy
No.
with the mullet? Fuck, I can't remember him.
Dude, speed reading has got to be the biggest crock of shit in the history of the. Can you imagine you're sitting on a beach and your chick's beside you? She goes, "I'm a speed reader," you know, and you're lying down and and then the person's just going like this. Done. Next book.
And you go, what was that about?
You go, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like imagine you're sitting on the beach next to someone.
I remember one.
They have a stack of 9 books for the 2 hours they're
No. See, the thing is, speed reading's not like, I remember like reading or not reading or like just watching a video about it, and like it's very like it's like work. Nobody's a casual speed reader. It's like you like sit down, you gotta like
You're
you
trying
have,
to take like
pe-
a snapshot. You read every 5 words.
yeah, and you're like there's no like, oh, I'm gonna lay back on the auto futon and fucking speed read.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's I don't. Seems like
Speed reading's dumb. That's my synopsis.
I just
And it's
don't see how many
It's such
people
an
are-
annoying character trait of someone that's like, I'm a fucking. It's just so stupid.
Yeah, he also doesn't read. That guy's whole thing is he lies all the time.
Yeah.
I still don't know what he even does. That's the thing. I know who he is.
Ty Lopez, he's a fucking crock of
Is
shit.
he a real
dude.
estate guy?
He probably sells. Dude,
Sells
he's one of those
courses?
guys. It's like how girls that are unsuccessful just tell you how to live your life.
Does he
and
sell
eventually
skinny
get
teas?
successful.
Is he the male version of selling tea?
Yeah,
skinny
but he
teas?
sells everything right now. But I think right now mainly he sells his books on how to be him. You know.
Yeah. Just had a crush.
So let's talk about this fucking extremist and Trump stuff. But is it kind of to relate back to what we were talking about earlier today? But if you Snapchat, because there's all of the media journalists, like one of the criticisms that we always have of conservatives is they fucking like they don't get how the game is played. Almost where it's like, kind of what we were saying before. We're talking about that girl and she's getting fired from her job and all this stuff. And it's like obviously deeper than just like, this is bullshit. Or it's like, it's more complicated, right? Whereas conservatives always be like, the media is out to get us. And it's kind of like, yeah, that's the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. That's the starting point of the game. Like if you sit down to play, that's the situation. Like they start with 5 chips because you're getting fucked with,
Yeah.
And most politicians and media companies you know how to play the media. It's like these people are here. If you want a story written about you by the media on any side, you need to find out how to align it with them. That's like 101 of getting press. Is you need to give them a story they want to tell
Exactly,
with
yeah.
you in it.
Yeah.
And what they want to tell now is like Trump's bad or this, and what, fucking Fox News wants to tell on Tucker Carlson is like the woke mob is ruining my business because I'm trying to open it.
Yeah. He had the weirdest thing. He had Tucker Carlson with he goes, the NSA is surveilling me, but he had like his only proof was he goes, someone just reached out to me and told
Yeah.
me. And then the NSA is like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
And then it's just this weird thing where they're like, well, we're just going to keep this going because you're
And
all.
some people are saying they are now.
Yeah, but he's like, well, you're obviously not going to say you are. And then he just has this little fucking football he can run with.
Well, I just assume they're surveilling all of us.
But he's saying they're specifically.
Well, he's saying
coming
apparently
after him.
what the idea is he was going to go meet up with Putin or something like that, or doing something with Putin. He had something Russia oriented, and that's when it started.
Yeah. I don't know.
which doesn't seem. I mean, I don't know. It's
I'm
kind
sure
of
they do. It's like for them to be like, that it's funny because, all the people on the left will be like, Tucker Carlson's like, they're surveilling me. And then the NSA's like, no, we're not. And then everybody's like, see? And you're like, wait, so you just
That's what I mean.
But you're like, you just blindly trust the NSA?
Yeah, what? Like, I don't even feel like it's a wild claim.
No.
For anyone to come out and say the NSA is spying on me, and I'm like a huge public figure, and the government organizations are watching. Like, how is anyone finding that? Like, it's just because he said it.
Well, they're just because he said it. So then they go, see, like they make you literally like just to oppose him, to own him. You're like, we love the NSA.
We fucking love the NSA.
NSA's like all these just like Hillary Clinton people wearing NSA hats, being like, I fucking love the NSA.
Dude, I fucking love the NSA.
Fuck, they're not spying enough on me.
Yeah, they're cooked
with
that sort of stuff. I watched it on the front page of Snapchat. They have like people kind of like the way that we make fun of shit or whatever, but the way that Jon Stewart used to do or Trevor Noah, like he just they make fun of shit, right? That's news guys and politicians, but they have the front page was like this guy who has like a channel where he kind of like reacts to Ben Shapiro's clips.
Okay,
and it kind of is related to this Tucker thing where it's just.
I just picture him being like, 2 genders.
Yeah, it's that, and it's hard to explain what exactly I'm pointing out, but it's like they're acting like they're doing comedy, but they're furious. He's fake laughing the whole time.
Yeah,
it's like he's literally going. Yeah, it's what you said. He goes. I mean, okay, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, he's like they're so crazy,
but he's so mad.
Yeah,
like he's seething through his teeth.
Older guy, younger guy.
It's like a brown dude. It's kind of thing, like like a Trevor Noah type guy. But he's like, Ben Shapiro will be like some version of whatever. I don't even know what he's talking about, but he'll just say that something about Juneteenth was actually based on this, and he's like, "It's if you like they seem like fucking psychopaths."
Yeah.
It's like your girlfriend going like, calm down. She goes, "You think I'm crazy? I'm not crazy. Yeah, I actually am having fun."
She starts cutting herself. She goes, "You think this is crazy?"
I'm having fun.
Oh,
yeah, because they're trying to be like a comedy video, and the idea is they're having fun, but they're like seething. Through their teeth.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing comedy that shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't even know if they would call what they're fucking doing comedy. They shouldn't. But so with the being censored stuff, and this is so there's the Trump's big lawsuit, and then there was Facebook coming out and saying we're looking for extremist content on the internet.
That's the best. Flag your friends.
I've already flagged my mom.
Flagged your friends.
Flagged my dad.
That's so good. I don't go on Facebook at all almost anymore, so I haven't seen that thing yet, but I wanted to.
It's insanity. And so this is kind of one of those things where when you're making funny stuff and try to be a comedian and all that shit, it's impossible not to see that every huge conservative figure has kind of made censorship their number one fight. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? From DeSantis, so it's kind of one of those things where, I would say like early 2015 where liberals were saying, hey, we're going to stand up for gay people. And then by like 2016, you go, yeah, I think there's probably enough people doing that. They have enough advocates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it sort of feels like that.
Out.
There is this with censorship where it's like half the country, this is their cardinal issue now. So it's one of those things that feels like it doesn't even really need another voice, part of that choir.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it helps.
It's not like this underdog.
It's not an underdog fight. It is. I know it is, but it's just a partisan fight.
Yeah.
And it's almost like...
And it's one will eventually shift.
And this is where... I was talking about maybe. I don't know if it will.
I'm not saying like in a year from now.
I did this guy Chris Williamson, and I was kind of like having this revelation or whatever, but... those people don't help like sometimes as soon as you make things a partisan issue, like if censorship should be a thing that people don't want, and it should be the fucking hall monitors of one side want to, but it just became such a fucking partisan issue, and it was drilled down to make a partisan issue by like the right-wing media who knows it gets clicks and
Yeah.
stuff like that, that it's just 100% for anyone that's a normal person has just sort of fiddled into another issue that they think this, they think that. You know what I mean?
And the problem too was like, because that was initially like, you know, a left wing position.
Exactly.
And then by the fact of the right wing people being like, hey, this is our cause now, people instantly not wanting to be associated with them.
Yeah.
With the right wing go, oh, I'm for censorship now because I don't want to be like
I know.
seen as being on the right.
Exactly.
So then it's, well, it's
And
a lot
I'm-
of really
and it does-
weak people.
So I do see it as like, and as much as there is that true. So it's almost like a disclaimer I'm giving where because you'll see this thing where it's like you kind of can turn on, you have 45 fucking media journalists have podcasts about how they're being censored. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but then with this Facebook stuff, it's like they are, you know, it's like, but it's true.
But it's true. Again, yeah, they just say it's content moderation or whatever, but yes, they are. I don't know. Like,
And I don't really think normal people give as much of a shit. And that's
don't.
the comedy component
They
where,
don't.
and that's probably the point I'm making is I think you're a normal person. Like, if you get fucking kicked off the internet, if you're in entertainment, I think you care more. If you're a normal person, even if you got kicked off the internet, if you're a normal person, you go, whatever.
I mean, you make a fucking new account.
Yeah, I mean, you make a new account. If it's someone that's popular that you used to like, maybe if they move to another platform that you already use, you'd listen to them. If not, you find another person that now you watch their stuff, and your hardcore fans will follow you to Gab or whatever,
Yeah.
new thing that you shoot, or Patreon or wherever you bring them, and then now that's your fan base or whatever. So it is like such an issue that I, honest to God, think your average person, I know they're getting people rallying around them in theory, but I don't think they fucking care.
No, dude, I remember. So when I did that free speech comedy show thing or whatever in Toronto, and then I hung out with all my friends, like my high school friends, and I remember like telling them about all this stuff, and they had no idea,
No clue.
about any of this stuff. Like I remember being like, oh, and there's like these Antifa people, and literally all my friends were like, what's that?
What are you talking about?
Like literally
I
all
bet
of them,
you they
"What's
know
that?"
by now.
By now maybe, but I remember at the time, and they're like, oh, I'm like, this is still a pretty niche thing. Like,
It was at the time, but it's not now. I mean, when you have
I
the
have tons of
president,
friends. If I told you,
dude, when you have the president of the United States of America talking about Antifa and stuff like that, and
dude, but this is first off, this is in Canada too. A lot of my friends like don't give a shit what the president's talking about. You know,
yeah,
I have a lot of friends with Trump who like, because you know everybody was like kind of the president ran the background and then Trump was like so dominant.
Okay,
I had a lot of friends who they kind of just was business as usual. They were like, oh yeah, this is something, I don't know, I heard something, but they don't really.
yeah, I'm sure there's some of that. But a lot of those people, what happened to them is not that they got into it. It's that like their chick got into it or their boss got into it. It's
Yeah.
like someone in their orbit went full woke, and then by proxy they were like, fuck this shit that you're shoving down my throat. Like all it takes for one of those guys to have some fucking woke nonsense shoved down their throat from their sister, from their wife, from anyone, for them to sort of be like, wait, what's going on right now?
Well, it has to affect them in a way that like that's their hot button issue, right? Where they're like, it's the one thing that affects them, and then they're like, oh wait, what's going on here with all this stuff?
Exactly.
And then they start peeling away the onion, and they're like, oh, what is going on? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
So I reported my mom, but but the extremist Facebook.
I mean, they really do want to like snitch on you, though. Like, they really want to just straight snitch on your relative.
and they also really, yeah, I know.
And what do they like? So Facebook.
what do they do? Yeah,
So,
what do they do?
Like,
next?
would you get renditioned? Like, someone comes and puts a bag on your head and takes you fucking Facebook
What do you do?
campus?
What is their plan?
Or-
I'll
or
tell you
do
one
you-
of the
or
things
do-
that they're
or
doing.
do you get
Well, I
the
can tell
message?
you one of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
things is when you type in like, if you type in, as they say, like, hey, how to be a white nationalist, they give you a page that says, hey, are you thinking of being a white nationalist? Like, here's some groups to like help de-radicalize you.
Right.
Which probably will work.
I guess. But
I mean, it's the equivalent of, a guy that's being like he's getting radicalized to be a Muslim terrorist, and then they send him a message that says like, hey, dude, like, don't blow up
cool.
shit.
Yeah, don't blow up shit. That's not
Drugs
cool.
aren't cool.
But if it's on Facebook, like, I guess it's links to go off of the platform. I guess
Yeah.
it's not to a Facebook page.
I don't know if they're sponsoring it yet. I'm gonna read the article, but the funny part, even before that, was it always just makes me laugh. The idea that all these companies in Silicon Valley, and the same reason that Hollywood just panders to China right and left. When you have this, it's like, what does it mean in other countries? What does Facebook go? You go, and what you have in Iran? Oh, I want to report extremist behavior. My wife's been looking at articles about driving. Like, what's extremist behavior to them? Anti-government? Like,
I mean, being on Facebook because they're not even allowed.
Literally,
on a fucking
Russia.
firewall.
Like, my fucking kid wants to buy a bondage outfit. Like, report him. Like, only America.
I mean, they don't have
has
Facebook.
decided that
Yeah.
right-wing people are extremists and left-wing people are freedom fighters. Like, that's right now in the Western world. That's only right now in the Western world.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like, which ones would they, like, in the war, they called the fucking hippies the extremists.
Yeah, the hippies for sure.
They called the hippies the extremists then.
It's a moving target.
Well, it's a moving target, but that's what I mean. So it has no objectivity of what's an extremist. It just depends on.
Well, everybody who runs Facebook's on the left, so they're not going to say we're extremists.
So that's why it's like, what do you expect? What do you think Tucker Carlson should think of this? Like, what should fucking...
Oh, they know that. I'm sure some stuff they go, man, he's going to have a fucking conniption when we post this. They probably love it. Like, they probably love to see him with his smarmy, like, oh, isn't this something nice, huh? Oh, I'm going to call my neighbor an extremist? They're just that face of Zuckerberg's just fucking laughing his ass off.
I don't think Zuckerberg's laughing his ass off. Although, we fucking should mention this because we went on the Patreon. It's probably worth mentioning, but not normal. Me and Danny, after the hot dog eating competition, we met up with our buddy who's like this fucking New York, like they were like rich dudes, right? And we met these guys through friends, and they were like, hey, we're doing this big dinner if you want to roll through. And they kind of think it's cool that we're like comedians or whatever. So we fucking go to this thing, and like, they all went to like school together. One guy's like an Egyptian rich dude, like, yo, bro. He calls you bro every second.
Yeah,
Talk
yeah.
oil money and shit, bro. But, and all that's whatever. We did the dinner. My chick got fucking blackout,
yeah,
started
she's
puking. We sent her home.
tuned.
She was tuned, sent her home because we were drinking in the sun, going to Coney Island, beating basketball games for 15 hours. But Tiffany fucking Trump was there.
I know.
Which I didn't know till after.
I only
My chick
figured
was like
it-
talking to her, and then we went to this other guy's like, oh, we're doing a party afterwards. And then halfway through, the only reason we knew, I don't know, maybe this is what you're going to say, but the Secret Service was following us.
No, see, the way I figured it out was I was talking to her, and we were just like talking or whatever, and then she's like, so you guys are comedians? I was like, yeah, we're comedians. She goes, that must be so hard to be a comedian right now, blah, blah, blah. Like, that whole like, oh, it must be so hard. And then she's like, oh, I love comedy. And she's like, I'm fine. She's like, I remember because she said I'm Tiffany, or when I go, and then she goes, it must be hard or whatever. And she goes, like, whatever, comedy should be for everyone. Like, I'm fine. People make fun of my dad. I don't care. And I remember being like, make fun of your dad. Like, she said it's such like a blanket term where she goes, people make fun of my dad.
That's understatement of the year.
I know. Well, she goes, people make fun of my dad. And I was like, Tiffany, make fun of your... I'm like, oh, shit. That was the moment I go, you're like, that's when I knew. I was like, oh.
I wouldn't have put that together.
I did at that moment. Because I just knew Tiffany. And like, she blonde hair, like whatever. And anyways, in that moment, but then I saw all the Secret Service afterwards, and like,
yeah,
what a weird life for them. Our buddy is.
Why did they get a Secret Service when he's not so for the rest of his life, his family has to have Secret Service fly around with him?
Yeah. Dude, he's not even the president anymore. He's still the most hated guy in the world. Like, I was saying to my girlfriend, it's like,
so
imagine,
what would they do, kidnap his daughter?
Imagine
So that sucks to be a daughter of a politician. You can't go anywhere with
for life.
You want to go fuck a dude and
dude. Also, but like they're we went to like we went to like this guy's house to have drinks afterwards. Like they just kind of are on her schedule. They just wait for her. They're, I guess, chauffeurs equivalent with guns. The funniest is my girl, because there were two of them and one of them was a chick, and my girl was like, you think that girl is just a driver? I'm like, no, that girl is like a trained killer.
Yeah.
Like, she's not the driver. She's like a literal trained killer who's like watching over this girl.
Nuts.
Yeah, the whole thing is fucking...
Well, which made me laugh so much because we're all fucking... These guys are a bunch of idiots, even though they're really rich, and we're all fucking... Go back to this place, and we go to get White Claws, and we're like, oh, this bodega is fucking closed, so we find another bodega. You got a multi-millionaire. So we find another bodega, and the whole time, the Secret Service car has us to follow like 100 fucking meters back, watching us go to try to find White Claws.
Yeah, like bodega to bodega.
Dude, the Secret Service is following us through bodegas.
This is how your tax money's spent. Following us to bodegas.
How funny is that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have a friend he's in the Secret Service. I actually wanted to message him and be like, you know any of these guys? But I guess they're all like on a rotating like.
Possibly.
But it's,
So this article,
that was a weird one.
I can't remember how we got into that, but under pressure from lawmakers and rights groups to check extremism on the platform, Facebook is testing an alert that asks users whether they think their friends are becoming extremists. Facebook confirmed the test after social media users posted screenshots of such alerts on Twitter. You know what? All of this is part of, I don't know if you saw this Vice article, but Vice did this article recently and it came out and it said, reporters who have survived the Capitol riot are still struggling.
I saw that.
And it's like, they really, really need you to believe that that was the single worst day in history, like January 6th.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's, you know, they're going to do everything to write that into history, that was the day that dude in the shaman with the fucking hat almost became the president.
And yeah,
like a real then, like third world coup.
Dude, a feminist group went to they went to the Capitol like recently, and then they shut down the Capitol building. Recently, that happened, and other versions of this have happened all the time. And it was like other places were tearing down statues and wrecking buildings, and they burned down a police station, and then they go, well, but it was the Capitol building, and it's like. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, and they're like, well, they were about to certify the way they talk about it, because they say insurrection, like they use that term.
They cannot. These people are living in a dream world.
Well, they want to, you know, they want to paint their side as the good guys and the other side as the bad guys, and they want to straight up being like, look, you know, we almost like had a change of power that day, like where, like, you know, in the
no, you didn't. First of all, the fucking CIA had their fingerprints all over that fucking bad boy. They had informants right and left.
Oh, yeah.
The cops
they were on
Twitter.
These guys were all on Twitter being like, we're fucking the week up to it, being like, we're doing this.
I don't know how you could possibly think that was much different than all the other shit that happened in the last year.
I mean, in the context of it, I guess, like, it wasn't that much different. They just, like, the way it was... you know, in the Capitol building, and they were like, you know, like if you wrote it as a script almost, they're like, oh, they're about to certify about to certify. I'm sure of that. But they're like, you know, they're about to like certify the election. They're doing the whole process.
That's not what was happening.
A bunch of people storm in the Capitol to stop it. I mean, the degree that it got to, I think a lot of people were like, this just is, you see this happen in other countries, but everybody was like, we don't do this in America. I think that's.
I mean, so what we do, but
it's because everybody
or not but they do burn down police stations, and we go, that's par for the course.
Yeah, they go, that's par for the course. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm living in a dream world, or I'm not.
No. I'm just saying. This is how people.
Yeah, but it's never let a good tragedy go to waste.
Yeah,
and they're like, let's spark back these fucking 9/11 rules, because this is, if anything, worse than 9/11. Facebook spokesperson Andy Stone said on Twitter Exchange that the alerts were part of a company's redirect initiative to combat violent extremists by redirecting hate and violence-related search items towards resources. I mean, you kind of see this, and it's like one of those things that probably you said, hey, listen, if someone is looking on the Facebook, they're on your website, Facebook, and they're typed like how to bomb a building. Or if they're typing
joining
like,
ISIS.
Yeah, how to lynch a fucking guy or whatever it is. And you say, we want to show them some resources. But I don't think it would help to show someone resources when they're in that situation.
No.
So I don't think it would help. So I don't even think if that would help. But more importantly, that's not who's going to be getting it. It's going to be a guy that, made edgy jokes online, and it's people who have the wrong political opinions.
I mean, also what's next? Like, Google. I guess
Alex Jones. Like,
I guess if they're not going to go further than just to say this notification, like, well, I don't know. Like, what happens if you're doing research on a topic and they go, hey, are you becoming an extremist? And you're like, no, I'm researching an article for Vice.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. They're doing that thing where they're kind of, Facebook is a little bit trying to like appease the people that are yelling at them, and everyone's doing it. But it is like all of this stuff. It's just everyone bending over for everyone. And eventually it's just like till everyone owns you.
Yep.
and Google can tell you what to do. Facebook and so the level of there's like a web where the government, Facebook, Google, the media, like the level that they're all fucking like intertwined and working with each other. It's almost like, sure, I guess it's fun to fight against it, like on your, say that you're against it on your podcast, but like, really, what are you going to do? Not much.
Nothing. No, you're not going to do shit. Like against Facebook, it's like the fucking president of the United States couldn't do anything.
That's where I said that to lead into it. So Trump, he says, well, I am going to do something about it.
Yeah.
And what is your take on Trump's lawsuit as of now?
I mean, I haven't looked into it a whole lot. My guess is it's just kind of to get him back in the news cycle. I don't think what's the goal of the accomplishment?
Right.
Monetary?
So before that,
damages?
they have the big thing where they say we caught Trump doing tax fraud and all this.
Yeah.
My take on that, nothing.
That's nothing. Yeah.
It ain't shit. It's like they found out like $1 million got moved around in $1 billion.
But it was all for but it was also
kids.
Just straight up like
school
expensing stuff.
Whatever,
like
yeah.
They go, oh, you misexpensed things?
It was
It's
nothing.
like,
Yeah.
all
So
right.
and I saw like Judd Apatow retweeting it and all this video, and it was like, we fucking got him.
Yeah. The moment Judd Apatow's retweeting it, you go just the opposite of whatever that is.
Idiot. But so Trump's big tech lawsuit. I'm reading an article that came from Politico. Mm-hmm. So the gist of this article obviously is like, this lawsuit is nothing but a publicity stunt and nothing's happening. Mm-hmm. I haven't been able to see that great of a case for the opposite. So it is very possible. And I think that a lot of even Republicans have come to terms with like Trump kind of come out and being like, we're fighting against big tech. And everyone's like, yeah, I mean, you could have done any of this while you were the president.
Right.
So now,
well, it seems like he was trying. What's the section? That one thing where
but even then, it was like he only fucking did anything when it came for him. Uh-huh. And it's kind of like what we're talking about with the girl that works at the place. It's like no one does anything until it comes for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Trump would tweet. He would tweet to scare Twitter, like you better not delete me, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But they didn't actually propose very much anything to move forward this
other
stuff.
Than whatever
DeSantis kind of actually is.
Other than the publisher thing, that was all he tried.
But that was already like that.
Yeah.
If that was already the situation is that you have to, but basically none of them are following it. They're saying you have to be a platform, not a publisher. All of them are making these insane editorial decisions and still they all have the protections. So it didn't change anything.
True.
So does this help or does it make just, put people on their binary sides a little more? They said in Politico, which obviously they're coming into this against Trump, the lawsuit is a stunt. One legal expert said, it's the latest and growing Republican trend of asking judges to rein in Silicon Valley's policing of online speech. Former President Donald Trump escalated his feud with Silicon Valley on Wednesday by filing a series of lawsuits that legal experts say he stands little chance of winning. And you know what the other thing is? They make it sound like it's this Republican issue where the fucking Brett Weinsteins of the world, all of the fucking liberal comedians, all of the, I don't think Jordan Peterson would consider himself Republican. Like all of these people that do get censored, it's not only a right-left issue. That's why I think I'm maybe a little keep bringing this up because I haven't articulated it properly. But it almost like annoys me that the right has like claimed this.
Yeah, because they're as being the
they've claimed it to try to make it a political push where it's like, look at these people are doing. You should vote for us. Well, I guess solve it. And so the truth is, if anything. The opposite, every option effect has its opposite effect. And the opposite effect of that is making anyone who's just like a little bit liberal to dig in being like, oh, maybe I am against fucking, maybe I'm for censorship.
Yeah. Exactly what we just said earlier. It's like they're basically just
I know a lot of girls that would have been like, yeah, I don't think they should censor you. Whereas now they kind of would be like, yeah, they should censor you.
Yeah, there was something. And again, it starts with some things should be censored. And you go, okay, what? Who decides? And then
Facebook decides.
I mean, we've talked about this before on the podcast about this whole thing, but like, it's one of those, you can't undo the whole Facebook thing. There's never going to be a solution that like everybody's going to be like, this is a great solution.
There's not. So they said,
although they are talking about, there is I think I'm hearing more and more about breaking up all these companies.
Yeah, that's been happening.
And I don't really like see how breaking them up is going to really make like the censorship stuff way better.
No, they're trying to do the censorship to like say if we do this, will you not break us up?
I understand that, but I'm saying even still, even if they say we'll break you up, like, you know, Facebook runs as Facebook, and maybe you break WhatsApp or whatever. I don't. This is maybe a higher level thing where I'm like,
that's
I don't
kind
get
of
how you're fixing.
Well, I'll
this.
tell you, it seems like one of those things. It's like the Bernie Sanderses of the world are fucking like, hey, we should break up these huge companies already. And then the Republicans have kind of a consensus with them for different reasons. So I think you have two different like cohorts that are on the idea of like these evil companies are bad. You're fucking normal liberals right now. Your normal fucking limousine New York liberals. They're like fucking Zuck Daddy. You know what I mean? They're like big corporations are fucking sick. They're the best. They don't do anything evil. Democrats rule, and Republicans are.
Well,
evil.
as long as they're don't get too rich.
Well, I think real left-wing people still don't like neoliberal bullshit. So they're aligning now that we should break this up. I mean, you're going to see how the way that they want to break it up and what happens next, they're not going to agree on.
No.
But they both agree that this person sucks, but not for the same reasons.
Yeah. Well, at least that's some sort of common ground, and then whatever, they break them up. And I don't think there'll be any negative to breaking these companies up. You're just, I don't really know. Like, they break them up and then they all run as the independent units, but they're going to all do the same shit. Like, they're not changing their models.
Yeah, well, they're hard to break up because the code of all of them is like embedded into their fucking, you know, like they've created all these places where they were created, so it's gonna be hard to break them up.
Yeah, well, for sure. And like, you know, when these companies can go, Google buys YouTube or WhatsApp or Facebook, like they do it to, you know, combine them.
And I do think it's unethical to go back in time and change incentives. I mean, I think that's kind of scary stuff. The same way California wants to say, like, if you leave the state, we're going to make you pay us back taxes and all this shit. I think that was on, like, it's as much as you don't want to just be like, oh, pro, you know, big tech. It is. I do think it's unethical for a government to allow, like, they buy these companies and then they buy the companies and then they're like, hey, you're too big. You can't have that company.
You did too good of a job with this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But the reason is because you took a huge risk.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you bought this company, put all this money into it, and then they go, oh, it actually is too big. It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have allowed the merger in the first place, but it's like they wouldn't have got their money back if it was a failure, which it is a lot of times.
And also fucking the governments are like, there's no way they have that kind of vision to see what these companies are going to do. Like, tech, you know, a bunch of old dudes who are like probably used to regulating fucking energy companies, and
they don't know what the fuck
now
they're
they have
doing.
to figure out what Facebook's plans are. With
No
WhatsApp.
fucking way,
like,
dude.
Dude, I remember when they bought WhatsApp and for like fucking $35 billion or something, and everybody's like, "This is insane! How, like, what's going on?" And now you're like, "Oh, what a deal they got!" You know?
What does WhatsApp even do?
I mean, 2 billion people use it every day.
Why? Why does anyone use WhatsApp?
I use WhatsApp.
Why?
To talk to people.
Why?
Because not everybody has an iPhone. So it's like if you have group chats with fucking green people or like people in Europe or like, it's just...
So that's the reason they use
it.
Group chats with people that don't have
Group
iPhones.
chats, and people have different, like, you know,
I have one
cell
friend
phone
that doesn't
plans.
have an iPhone.
Yeah, I know. Not lots of people, but...
Well, they say...
I just have these random WhatsApp groups that...
Speaking at a televised event announcing the class action lawsuit streamed on a website that included prominent donate button. They said Trump said that he hoped his move would usher in a new wave of complaints against tech companies. This is kind of like what I was saying about the Ben Shapiro thing, where they just can't hold their venom in. They're like, so it's Politico saying whether they have lawyers that are saying whether his lawsuit's good, and they go, speaking at a televised event, streamed on a website that had a prominent donate button.
Yeah.
It's like they're like supposed to be a lawyer saying whether there's like validity to his claim, and they're just like, his tie was fucking gross. Like,
yeah, trying to get money to prosecute this or, you know, pay for the legal fund.
yeah,
It's like, why don't you pay for it yourself?
That's the kind of gist of it. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to say if I was to make a prediction. This is not going to make that big of a difference.
I mean, I could very well see us not hearing about this again.
No, I think you will because everyone's getting a little boost to Trump and they like that. I'm watching all these people that liked him or hate him get a little taste of writing about him again. So I think that's what you're going to.
Well, I'm saying however this process is, unless this is, going to be a major, major thing. But if it's a court case, then these things move slowly, I think, in general.
Yeah, so it'll just be something that, but so that goes back to your original point that this is something that Trump gets to like talk about and have a talking point. He can go on, do like a press media run if he wants to. And
I mean, the real issue for CNN is they cover this and then they go, the ratings they kind of went up a bit.
Oh, we're fucking back, baby.
No, but the problem is because their whole thing is like, we don't want to give this guy any oxygen.
Yes, they did. Oh, whose thing is that?
Well, not to the degree that they.
Who on planet Earth?
No, dude. I occasionally just to take the pulse, I'll turn on Cuomo or fucking Don Lemon, and they went when Trump was gone. That was like, we're not talking about him. Like he got I remember I would be watching. I was like,
yeah,
where's the Trump stuff? And then it comes back and you go, and then sometimes I'll be like, you guys are talking about him again for like not a good reason. There's just like a nothing thing. And then you could tell they're just like, fuck, every time we talk about him, our ratings go up.
They love it. Dude, he was a gift to fucking media.
Oh, for sure.
A gift.
I mean, the fact that he coined the term fake news, if we get nothing out of if we learned nothing, got nothing out of that entire presidency, other than the fact that I think there was really like an idea before him that one side of the news was the truth and the other side was lying.
To a lot of people.
That's a lot of people felt that way. They're like, Fox News is bullshit, CNN is the truth. And then after him, you're like, oh, okay, they're both peddling their same bullshit.
Yeah, no, if he did do one thing, yeah, it was to really fucking ruin the reputation of CNN as a legitimate broadcaster to most normal people.
Yeah, to most normal people. Yeah,
don't have TDS.
Honestly, like I read CNN like before that. I was like, CNN was like, yeah, if I want to get the truth, I'll go watch CNN. And then like I was like, oh, okay.
Right. I never watched that shit.
Or whatever. Like it would be like I would go through different news sources, but it was like a source.
Yeah, you'd read papers and that would be one of them.
I would go to their website occasionally, see what's going on.
You wouldn't look at it like a fucking smut paper.
No.
I mean, which it wasn't as much also.
Like I didn't look at it as Breitbart. And then they went so TDS crazy that I was like, oh, you guys are not a legitimate news source.
They aren't.
No.
And you know what the other thing about all this stuff when you talk about the extremism and what they're fucking trying to do is they have this idea that they're like the worst thing in the world you can be as a conspiracy theorist. Fucking they peddle lies that like wreck the country, keeps everyone in their house. Kids can't go to school, all that shit. Their thing is a guy like on that thinks conspiracies, which a lot of them have become true. That's the worst because it's the biggest threat to them.
For sure.
So they're pitching this. Like Gino's a conspiracy guy. Mm-hmm. I was with him this weekend. Fun dude. He just thinks,
I mean, conspiracies used to be like a pretty fun thing.
It was.
Like it was a straight
until it came for fucking the narrative that they made. They brainwashed everyone into thinking they had to think.
Yeah, for sure.
Until they go think whatever you want. You can think dinosaurs don't exist. You can think there's flat Earth. We don't care.
Uh-huh.
You go, we think that like the Democratic Party's up to some weird shit. You go, there's nothing worse in the world than a conspiracy theorist.
Well, it was when the president was
worse than racist.
Well, yeah, it was when the president of the United States, who was like the most famous person in the world, was basically saying this stuff.
Well, Rebel Wilson, on the same topic, she came out and she goes, everyone got all mad at her because Sydney was locked down still, and they were like, she was like, oh, come on, we're still locked down. And everyone's like anti-mask or
totally
fucking. I was on the streets and I was doing this funny bit, but the mic wasn't working that good. So I might have lost the funniest part. But I was going up to people on the streets without a mask. I was trying to find like middle-aged women and saying, hey, I'm just a citizen mask inspector. If you wouldn't mind putting it up. And they'd be like, I was vaccinated, so I don't wear it. And I go, well, if you maybe just show me your card, then she's like, why would I show you my card? I go, ma'am, I'm a citizen mask inspector. And one girl flipped out. She's like these fucking like she thought I was like some like fucking libtard New Yorker asking her to like wear a mask. And I go, I would just appreciate it. There's a variant going around. And she, like one girl flipped out on me, but I was so mad because the footage, the mic, Johnny was across the street.
Oh,
the mic wasn't working, but it was making me laugh too. Then I went up to the cop, and the cop goes, "Hey, we're getting a lot of complaints that you're bugging everyone." And I go, "Well, yeah, if they'd put on their masks, we wouldn't have a problem."
They just obey. They just be compliant.
Yeah. No, what I saw a lot of was fucking women, like a mother, no mask, kids mask. Like that's the bizarro world we're living in, where the fucking kids are, Mom, we need to be more safe.
Or is it they're like the mom's like, well, you're not that because the kids can't get vaccinated yet. So maybe the mom's like, we got to, even though 0 children have died or been sick.
Maybe, but I think it's more like the kids are like, oh, I'm told I'm racist if I don't have a mask.
That is even sadder. If that's the case where the mom's like, you don't have to wear the mask. The kid's like, no, I want to.
Yeah, people are going to think I'm a Republican. And mom's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Remember when kids were fucking...
And then the mom has to like, because it probably confuse the shit out of your kid, be like, no, you don't need to wear a mask. And you're like, what do you mean I don't need to wear a mask? All I've heard is that I need to wear a mask.
Dude, it's literally the kid telling his mom, I need more pads for my rollerblading.
Yeah.
Mom, I'm not going skateboarding without my elbow pads.
Hey, Mom, help me cross the street.
Yeah, it's insanity. Well, Chelsea Handler's been fucking whiling again.
What's she up to?
She's the one who just had to remind.
Did she ever fuck 50 Cent?
Yeah, they dated a long time ago.
No, but did she ever fuck him for not voting for Trump or whatever?
Oh, I don't know if he ever got his the pussy.
Did he get that nut in that he promised?
She did promise him the pussy.
She promised him one nut.
Chelsea Handler says she swears off dating white men. Too many bad apples spoiling the collective.
I fucking hate white men.
I think, she goes, who would you date? She goes, I think black men, she told Cohen. Also, Chelsea Handler, always into black guys.
Yeah. Thing.
She was like running through rappers, and now she's like for progressive. That's like funny, like a hood rat chick, like just fuck, like girl that just like fucks like only rappers that and like basketball players and stuff like that, and then like a Kardashian type, and she was like, yeah, just for progressive reasons, I'm only fucking black guys. Yeah. I'm doing this for fucking for the woke
you gotta
reasons.
make up.
Yeah, I'm doing this for the good of humanity.
Yeah,
she goes,
good for her.
Yeah, I mean. The white men and the way straight white men have been acting for the last couple of years, I think there's only one direction to go in, and that's black, Asian, Latinxes, anything that isn't you. She hasn't tried out Asians and Latinxes yet. She hasn't run through all the black guys yet.
Yeah.
She goes, you know what? I can't date white men. I should only date black, Asians, Latinxes, and Indians. Have you dated any Latinxes, Indians, or Asians? Not yet, but. Anything that isn't, a white, she goes, anything that isn't, a white privileged man that's denying what's happening.
Wait, she's on dating apps?
Caricature.
She's on apps?
I don't know if I said anything about apps.
No, I'm looking at the article right here. It says on Andy Cohen's radio show, and she was asked to describe the type of man she looks for on dating apps. She goes, I think black. You go, you think black? Do you think that? Or do you only date black guys?
She also dates Asian and Latinx, as she says, but she doesn't. I mean, listen, that's not all men, obviously. We all know. But if a white guy says he likes Asians, yes, she has a fetish. But if she says she likes black guys, it's because she's saving the world.
Yeah, she's fucking woke.
I mean, we all know that girls will use anything they can to get what they want. It really is.
Or justify their shit. Like
to justify their shit.
It's more the justification. She goes like, yeah, I'm into black guys. And you go, why are you into black guys? It's not because she has like some weird fetish or whatever. It's just like, oh, no, it's like, it's a more noble, moral cause.
I'm for noble reasons. Girls will do anything to justify their fucking bullshit. But very much like the police, there are too many bad apples of the fucking billion white people that are in the world to overlook as a collective. The fucking cognitive dissonance of her to be like, well, yeah, I'm not saying everyone in the race is bad, but just like you have to stay away from them because there's too many bad ones in the race. It's like, yeah, that's what the Klan says.
This is actually, sorry, I don't know if you're getting to this, but I just see this quote and this is insane. So this is from her. She goes, so a lot of my material is aimed at, hey guys, because this is like so many comics that you see. It goes, my material is aimed at, hey guys, we're trying to make sure you don't go extinct. So can you fucking listen to what we're telling you and just shut up and say you're sorry? Say you're sorry and we'll tell you when your probation period is over in about 6 months to a year. This is what her comedy aims for. So it's like you're a white guy.
Because no girls are gonna fuck you, so you're gonna go extinct.
Yeah, but she's literally goes, my comedy is aimed at, like, I'm doing you a favor, white man. So just sit back and listen to the comedy stylings of Chelsea Handler so I can save the world.
Huh? Dude, if you're a fucking white guy that's watching this, like, yeah,
That's like, isn't that just quite literally like delusions of grandeur where you think my comedy is like saving the world?
it is, dude. She's like, my comedy is saving the world. A certain race has too many bad apples, so we should stay away from them. I'm not going to tell you which one.
Yeah, you know. Depends who you ask.
Depends who you ask.
It really depends who you
Hey,
ask.
ladies, we're sorry for, everything we've done. Dude. Also, there's that old thing, but it's like the fucking audacity of these fucking white women to be like, we take zero credit in this.
Yeah.
Colin Tyrell has the funniest joke about that. I won't wreck his joke, but about how like women feel guilty for all the atrocities. That's why women have all this guilt for the atrocities they've forced us to commit over the year. And when we didn't want to, he was making me laugh with that. But these fucking ladies are so. Imagine anyone reading this and being like, and then like your friend who's like a white dude reading this and being like, which one of us is out of control? Handler.
Mm-hmm.
Handler.
Handler. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. She hasn't been a serious person in.
No, she is not. Do you see Busta Rhymes going fucking based?
Oh yeah, he's bass Busta.
Based Busta Rhymes being like, and the COVID. I can't do the fast rapping. I need to have the words to make the fast rapping, but it's so funny.
It's so funny that being just like having, a reasonable position about stuff is like controversial.
Trans guy at the spa again. So the original Jessica Yaniv was across from me and Danny's old office. And all these cameras were there, and we were even talking about it in the
Oh,
office.
yeah, I forgot about that. That
Yeah,
was right there.
and our friend made this video trolling her, which is kind of funny.
Mark Hughes?
Mark Hughes. But so there's a new one. Did you see this? So there's a new trans guy at the spa.
Trans woman?
Trans woman at the spa. And the Antifa came, and they had a big blowout outside the spa because this guy the woman there, and she's got her dick out. And that's the whole deal. So the women are like, I don't want this, there's children around. I don't want this swinging fucking dong in the change room.
Yeah.
Which I feel like everyone, even 99% of people could agree in the middle that they say, hey, you're right. Let's not have we don't need to do your own gender. We do go by the genitals.
Mm-hmm.
If you cut the dick off, girl's bathroom.
What if but if the top is. No.
Well, if the top,
I guess it's fine.
that's the
You're saying
complicated one.
So you're saying, yeah.
But I think just to get people on board, if you said right now it's a 50-50 split, if you said, listen, you're in the girls' change room, but you cut your dick off, that's the only thing anyone has a problem with. They don't want their daughters being around a bunch of guys with dicks.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want their daughters being around dicks, and they don't want people to be able to lie to just come but no one's chopping their dick off for a lie.
No.
So
But again, then you're like, yeah, I guess you get into what about if you're a woman who
But
gets
it's not man's and women's anymore. It's just genitals.
But I'm saying
It's penis bathroom,
Vagina.
bathrooms. So they go, what? I have to go on the wrong gender? We don't do bathrooms.
what
by
happens if you
gender.
have one of those like makeshift female penises if you're like a female to male trans,
Oh, I always forget about female to male trans.
right? Because there's that one, and you go like, are you
Female to male trans, no one cares what they do because the truth is no one's complaining about that.
That's true.
The whole problem is no one wants dicks around their daughters and they don't want men to lie about this to come be around little girls like
True.
pedophiles.
Yeah.
That's the only thing anyone cares about. So the truth is, if a girl wants to go trans man and come in the men's bathroom and she has a vagina, no one cares.
Nobody's gonna care. No, that's true. Nobody will care.
So there is actually no problem because no one cares about that.
That's true.
So if really genital bathrooms solves the whole thing, it doesn't have a woman anymore. It has a slit and a dick.
That'll be a fucking literal bonanza for the sign making industry. Imagine someone who goes, they have to change every men's and women's bathroom sign in America
That ever existed.
that ever existed
Yeah.
to penises and vaginas.
So don't you agree?
Where was this? This is in New York?
I don't know, but it was everywhere because the Antifa people, some lady that was, at the place saying that she doesn't think it should be
The
happening.
best
or
was
whatever.
Ricky Gervais is with the Jessica Yaniv or whatever. He was like, wax her balls, you bigot.
And all the Antifa people were surrounding her, yelling at her. And there's all these videos, like an old lady was trying to get into a thing and they stole her hat, all this stuff. They're yelling, ah. And I think it was just one of those things where you have literally a bunch of like 20-year-old men yelling in a woman's face that she needs to have her daughter be in a change room with this person that has a penis and all this stuff. And it's just like to watch this scene and be like, it is crystal clear who the good guy and bad guy
For sure.
is. And it's the 20 guys yelling in this woman's face.
Yeah.
To watch that and just be like, can you believe this bitch? You know what I mean?
Pretty much, yeah.
It just,
Can you believe this fucking hole?
yeah, not a little part of you is like getting a little messy on both sides here.
Yeah, maybe we should just all take a break.
Yeah. To just be like, it's wild.
Yeah, we just need a timeout.
Yeah. So, and then one more thing that, well, there's a couple of little things, but I think I'll say two more things before we go. But Canada had a sign, and this is just there's something that was going around. But what it said was Canada sign, and it said, Two-Spirit people. Canada is not the future. The future of Canada. Two-Spirit people are the future. Indigenous languages are the future. Trans and black unhoused people are the future. Trans and non-binary and indigenous drug users are the future.
It's kind of a wordy sign.
It was like a Instagram meme, but they said black and indigenous drug users are the future.
Black and indigenous intravenous drug users.
That's what they said.
Our future.
And it was just like, I can imagine being a black guy and you're just like, we got you, brother. Black drugged up black homeless people are the future of this country.
You go, there's lots of us that aren't drugged up and homeless.
But-
and they go, yeah.
And even if you're saying like, hey, we need to look out for these people, but it's like, I guess the only way I could stretch this to like agree with what you're saying, it's like, I guess what you're saying is that once we give them houses and get them off drugs, they're the future. Because you can't possibly think like the future of this country's innovation is homeless drug users that are native.
I think they're just like, what's every marginalized or whatever? We're just going to throw them into
Drug
one.
users is making me laugh so fucking much though, dude.
But I'm sure there's like some white dude with a fucking needle in his arm being like, what about me? They go, not you. You've had your turn to be the future. Now it's
Yeah.
our turn.
Oh fuck! And then there's another guy in Canada that he had to issue this huge apology because he was like he ran like a plant place,
Yeah.
and he said he did a flyer that said it's jungle fever. He was releasing all these like vines and stuff like that, and he goes, "I'm so fucking sorry for
Just because you use the term jungle fever?
he used the term jungle fever."
It's a name of a movie.
Yeah, and it's also like he was saying he's like selling stuff you find in jungles.
Yeah.
Like legitimately.
And then,
And they're saying, well, they use that for a term for a girl that fucks black guys.
yeah.
Well, you know, a term we've used for a girl that fucks black guys now, saving the world
Saving Chelsea Handler.
from the evil white man.
It's Chelsea Handler fever.
Yeah. Chelsea Handler needs a fucking healthy dose of no ma'am, eh?
Yeah. It would be funny to just have a business that
Bundy and Handler.
all you do is all your marketing stuff is just meant to literally just cause a protest, because it's pretty easy at this point.
You can get people
You
riled.
do just like a few things, like, you know, you're a restaurant, you just be like, hey, we're gonna do like cuisine this week from another country, and then protest. Like, remember there was that girl in Toronto who did like the Asian soups, bone broth or whatever.
Protest.
There's the fucking Chinese restaurant here. They go, we're gonna serve only clean Chinese food. Protest. It goes, and she's like, no, clean, you know, it's just like clean, dirty, like in the sense that, like, you know, not a lot of oil. They go, oh, our food's dirty, is it? They go, no, it's just because it used a lot of saturated fats. And they go, protest.
Protest.
Just whatever you want. You just littlest things just fucking set people off.
You know the video we did where the Antifa, you smash the windows and sell them the thing? Some Indian dude messaged me from India that like follows this shit.
Yeah.
And he goes, in India, a lot of people do that where it's like people will have like tire repair businesses and they'll send out people to go put like tax on the road near their tire business.
For sure.
He says
I mean,
happens
it's
a lot.
it's fucking the mob used to do that too. Protection
Yeah. Protection from us.
from us. Yeah.
That's what these people are. The woke mob. They're basically go to people and they go, "Hey, you wouldn't want to get canceled, would you?
And just have the right opinions, and we'll make sure that happens.
We'll make sure your victimhood status becomes intact. We wouldn't want you to get canceled.
we
would
wouldn't want anybody to think you're a white guy.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, thank you for listening to the Patreon. Keep sending me articles and questions because, to be honest, a lot of people send me stuff on Instagram. The only other place I check is the Boys Cast, but I get messages on every platform and a lot of them. But it's way too much for me
You
to
post
go
in the
through.
Discord. I've been kind of kicking around in the Discord. If you
Well,
wanna-
send me if there's any good articles in the Discord.
I've just I don't.
I will look there more. But so
Yeah.
my point is, a lot of people on Patreon send me articles, and I mostly use I mostly go through those.
Mm-hmm.
I never really go through any of the DMs and the Boys Cast at with Ryan Long at gmail.com. But and questions and stuff. I always answer the questions.
Cool.
Well, not
Yeah,
always.
and I'm in the Patreon.
Sometimes
now.
I just answer them too.
I'm in the Patreon mix now.
Yeah, and Danny's on the Patreon mix and in the Discord mix.
Yeah.
They always say it's 1,000 true fans kind of thing, but it's like if we get that Discord to 1,000, it's like you have 1,000 people that are like part of the squad. You could really like fuck shit up.
Hell yeah.
You're like if you ever like, hey, imagine like not that I'm really onto this, but like even just little things. If it's like, hey, someone's trying to fuck with the shit, like some person has like let's say some journalist is trying to spread some lie. 1,000 people
Just
we
show
go-
up to that guy's house.
No, to
He's
fucking
probably not
be
gonna wanna
online.
spread that
It'd be like
lie.
1,000
I know.
people be like, yo, fuck, this is not true. 1,000 people is a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
Right?
for sure.
So when you have 1,000 people, it's like harder to fuck with you, I think, if you have 1,000 real people.
Agreed.
So that's one of the cool
So
things.
get in the
about
mix on the Discord.
getting close to there. Anyways, not that hopefully like it's not into that, but it's also just like when it's 1,000, it's like that large numbers thing where it's like, now that it's even closer to that, it does feel like there's more when people comment, everyone
Yeah.
comments back, and there's more of like a dialogue
sure.
where it's when
I told
it's-
you I went
yeah.
I met my girlfriend's brother for the first time. We went out for dinner and we're like sitting at the dinner table and like at this restaurant, and he's like on Instagram and he's like, oh, it's like someone just like shared your thing in my group chat,
Yeah,
like from the podcast.
Pretty cool.
Like random. And he's like
the Demi Lovato thing.
the Demi Lovato thing, but it was like pretty random. He's like, yeah,
Super random.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I appreciate everyone sending them. But then the other thing is, one of the fucking coolest things that I think is pretty cool, Bobby, who like literally shoots most of the good, like the videos, the high end videos we do. And I met him on the Patreon, and fucking the Tony dude who's making clips and shit for me. Dude, it's the tale as old as time. He messaged me like everyone else and goes, hey, I want to do like some people say I want to do the thumbnails for you, or hey, I want to do some clips, or I'm looking. You get that all the time, and sometimes you look at it and you go, okay, maybe, and then you just forget about it. And it's like, and then he just said, I'll just try it. He just sent me 10, and then I put some of them on TikTok. I go, did you want to do some more? And then he sent me 10,
Yeah.
and then now it's like he's doing all the clips and all that
Yeah,
sort of
exactly.
stuff. But the tech guys and talk about that always, but it's like just fucking. If you want to like offer someone, just do it.
Do something. 100%. Yeah.
Just do it.
Don't like just do it. There was a guy on one of the shows.
People
where he's
are
like,
lazy,
where he's like, I
right?
do these animations or whatever.
And I
He's
mean,
like,
the hiring people are lazy. Like they're lazy to make moves, but if you just not lazy, but it's like no one wants to do anything new.
Of course. But I look. This guy was saying, I can't remember his name, but I met him at the Caroline show, and he was like, "Yeah, I do these animations," and he's like, "Maybe if you guys ever want," and I was just like, "Yeah, just do it." I don't know. He's like, if you make an animation,
If you just made an animation,
and
it was
send
good.
it, and it's good, we'll post it. Like,
but
no
also
question.
more importantly, if you did something like that and it was sick, like if I really was like this rules, then I'll be like, hey, how much to do 10 of them?
of course, 100%.
But I don't want. No one wants to be like getting involved, being like. You don't still want to be getting involved with anything until you know it's
like almost
decent.
like you got to make your own opportunity in that sense.
Yeah, and I've done that to lots of
Yeah,
people
me
over
too.
the years. But everyone in tech talks about it, and it's like fucking the most true thing in the world.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyways, okay, whatever. This has been the Patreon podcast. Peace.
Peace.